Alrighty. Forgive the noise. Whoops. And I apologize in advance for hitting the camera, because if I sit straight up and face my painting, the camera is right where my eyes are. So that is giving you guys pretty damn good picture, let's just say. All right. Let me get it pulled up. Volume. Hi, Joycey. Got something coming your way, but it probably won't leave till Friday. I am late, but I think it'll be worth it. Just so you won't be looking for it. Hey, Gail. Yeah, well, I'm home alone because, well, I picked that up on the wrong one. It's duck season, and the babies are bored. But they should go to sleep. Is everybody getting ready for Turkey Day? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, well, at least I'm not on a group thing where it tends to overpower. All right, what am I going to do? I'm going to put my phone right here. I'm getting organized. The laptop is for StreamYard. The iPad is for pictures. Here's the way yesterday's turned out from last week. Bad color, but. So, pull this one up. Y'all do realize that you keep me painting. I don't want that. Here's from the wedding the other night. That's my mom and dad, 93 and 91. They won the longest married competition, 72 years. How old do you think that makes me? What are my favorites? Albums. There we go. Favorites. Let me find this tree and then I will be there. I told you last week I started assorting my, here's today's picture. Sorting pictures, and I opened it in, crap, excuse me. All right. right, all locked, loaded, and ready to go. Now, visit for a few. We're going to Mom's. You know, the funny thing is, I have never really enjoyed painting trees. I don't know why. In fact, I've always said that to myself, landscapes are my weakest topic. Which is absolutely ridiculous because a landscape can be anything you want it to be. It doesn't have to look like a person. Sorry, hit the camera. Okay, don't breathe. But anyway, that's just the mindset that I gave myself. All right, what I did yesterday was took a pre-mounted piece of Wallace sanded paper, and when I tear that paper off all the way around it, ideally it would be ready to pop in a frame with a mat, but I don't necessarily frame them that way anymore. I like to put the pastel right next to the glass. Whoops. I'm gonna quit saying crap. Joycey's in the house. So the first thing I did was came in with a lot of primary colors and then melted that down with alcohol. And then the next thing I did was kind of block in where my darks are. And it's not that good yet, but it will be. And then I sprayed it with Krylon Workable Fixative. And I soaked it pretty good and let it dry and then came back and did it again. And you can see the result, maybe. See how shiny that is up in there? Not only did it melt the pastel, it almost plasticized it, which makes that background look like it's really disappearing into the background. It's way back there, or it will be when I get the foreground on. And you can see all my little drippies. I love leaving drippies. I pretty much covered them all up here, but if I wanted some more, I could definitely do that. And this is how you do that. You just take your mineral spirits or alcohol in this case. I need at least 3. And you just let it rip. Let it go. And then you can use parts of it or close parts of it off or whatever you want to do. And I am also filming this straight on Facebook. So we'll see if anything pops up over there. I'm saving the tree till last. But I think I will work on it just a little bit. Now, the story of this tree is that every time I drove past it going home, it's a dead sycamore tree. And sycamores are beautiful in the winter because the leaves are gone, obviously. And they have these beautiful white trunks. And I could see every color in the universe in that tree trunk, which of course it does not show in the picture. So I've got to go by my memory of the multitude of pastel-y colors that were present in this tree. And every time I drove by it, I thought, you know, I really need to get a picture of that tree. And sure enough, I finally pulled over one day and took some good pictures. And within 6 months after that, it was gone. And I guess it used to have a secondary tree that fell down first. So we may paint that one sometime. Hi, Animated. Are you new here? I don't remember your name. If you are, welcome, welcome. And if you like what you see, I appreciate a subscribe and a click the bell. So I'm into trees for a little bit. This really just adds to texture, which is something a dry medium can do for you easier than some wet mediums, because this is just like glazing on top of the dark and you can see the dark through it. That's not deliberately painted in leaves. It's just this kind of a mark. Very light glaze. And the beauty of pastel is that if you very lightly glaze, you get the effect of a transparent watercolor. But maybe a little bit, well, of course it's different than watercolor, in that watercolor would be transparent, but it would cover the whole area. Where with pastel, you kind of get the in and out. It covers and it doesn't, which for landscapes really makes for a nice edge. So as soon as that gets dry, we will start. Any questions that you have ever? Private message me or whatever. It's my mission to pay back for all the mentoring that I've had. And my mentors taught me well. And since several of them are gone now, I picked up the mantle. Pink is so pretty. You can use it in so many different ways. Maybe not outside the tree shape, but that's okay too. My tree shape isn't perfect. Whoops. I'm thinking I don't want to go to straight white. Pastels are wonderful because they can be used as a drawing instrument with the tip or a painting instrument like a brush. And that's one of the delightful things. I decided to leave out, but I really am going to have to put it back in because I see now today that that's where the limb makes its, or this branch. So it actually looks like a different tree. So I'm going to bring that down. And it's behind the other tree and back. So the distance like that will make it look more in the distance. And those of you who already know about my class, I'm going to tell it again, those who don't. My school is an intensive training about the fundamentals of art, the things that make a circle look like a ball. And I mean, that's just one example, but you have to understand if you want to paint. Now, that's a caveat I always give out because not everybody wants to know how to paint. But it took me about 9 years to figure out what people meant when they said go back to the basics. And I had no clue. So instead of being a project-oriented class where I show you and tell you how to do a certain thing, this is like a college course. And then we touch on, I show you and give some like project ideas on how to use the 4 major mediums. And I give you enough information there for you to be comfortable picking up and using those on your own. So it is not a project class. It is not a techniques class. But it will teach you how to paint on your own, which is something that project-based classes don't do for you. That one comes up and around. Oops. Put that on the wrong side, but that's okay. And I started out doing the class and including materials because if you foray into the wild world of painting, the kind of materials you use makes a difference. But it put the cost of the class up another $250. So I decided that I would go against my better judgment. And the reason for that is simple because when you're mixing colors, which is a big part of this experience, you have to use the same brands as the tutor or you won't get the same results. Look at that tree. It's coming right down in a curve. I do just as you just take that little puppy right down. And then it's my painting, so I can make it be whatever I want it to be. Okay. Gives it a little more interest than just coming down straight. Okay, let me see if y'all have any questions. All righty. So many pastels and so little time. I want a little bit of brown if that's not already what I've got in my tray. It's a little different. Whoop, don't move. Okay, we've got just adding another layer. What happened last night was that it started getting dark here about 5:30 and I lost my light. Even though I've got plenty of light, I still need the north light, which is right here to my left, and that's not showing up well at all. So come over to the lighter. This big square pastel is a Terry Ludwig. Sorry, Terry. It's a great go-to. So now I bring that lighter color in here and then bring a darker color on the tree trunk like that. The tree won't blend into the background as much. So there's a little bit of that, a little bit of this, that, and the other. Let's put some more right in here. I'm not blending when I tap it. All I'm doing is knocking off any hard edges. Blending is when you mush all these colors together and you end up with not a dark or a dark gold or an orange or a pink or a light gold or a green. You end up with an analogous color that's all of those. And it's not as pretty. Pastels are designed to be interesting when you get up close to them, and that means have many layers that you can see through. I'm looking for any other instances of a lighter color, and then I've got some down here. I can turn this pastel on its edge. And make vertical lines. And this thing is moving around on me, so I need to get more tape. And remember, if you have a question for me, put it in all caps, because I have to glance at the, without picking up my phone, I can glance at it and see. There, that'll help. That will help. It's already looking pretty in here with all the different colors glazed on it. And I'm going to put some pink down in here. There may not be a blooming bit of pink in that little brush, but what happens with the light is that as it refracts from the sun, it will create colors that you think you see. Like when I was driving by the tree and saw the purples and pastel colors that really aren't there, and you have to be there to see it, and then you have to remember it. So these colors do appear, maybe in your imagination, but they do appear. And there's some green down there. I don't have to put the green down there. It would be something sort of like that. And then we've got a gold. It's fall, remember, so we'll have brownish colors. Northwest Arkansas is so green all the time, even in the winter, because we've got a lot of evergreens that stay. Now that messed up that being up higher. I had a friend once come from Las Vegas, and I'm going to carve into that just a little bit, make that. Exaggerate the tree shape and at the same time narrow it. And the thing that she was so impressed with was how green it was. Then we'll rebuild my layering in here. And yeah, y'all are seeing it straight on. If I pull it over to the side, it skews the angle of the picture, but you can see what I'm doing with my hands a little more. Maybe if I hold it like that a little bit. So anyway, let me know if you want me to get the camera more to the left. Yeah, it was 68 this morning when I got up, and it's supposed to be 32 when we go to bed. So it'll be a 3-dog night. And we have 3 dogs again, so. Now, there's a point on sanded paper where the harder pastels don't want to make much of a mark. And at that point, you switch to softer and softer pastels. In some of these areas, I'm getting to that point. Gail just ordered herself some UArt paper. And UArt was the first sanded paper that people used in the pastel industry. And it was an industrial product made in Germany that did not have, it was sandpaper, okay, for big machines. And it didn't have archival paper backing. But that was all that was available for a while. And then Kitty Wallace invented Wallace paper, which is what this is. And that was the Supremo paper for a long, long time. And then she started having manufacturing problems. And so UArt came back onto the scene with the paper that we use now. And it is very similar to glaze, just a little bit in here. So I don't want that area to have so much detail that it takes away from the tree. This reminds me of the rabbit theory. Silly things like that help help you remember things that you need to remember. In other words, if you see a rabbit and you're going to paint it and he's going behind that tree, so you have his butt and his little tail, there better be a rabbit coming out the other side with his head and his ears. That's, I mean, you know, you can argue but it's not going to come out if it's a big tree. Things that you see may not be the best choice. You can't paint it like you see it. And another example is if you see a three-legged horse standing in a field and you're going to paint it, you better put another leg on that on that horse. Because all people are going to see is, well, that's a weird looking horse. She forgot to paint the other leg. What I'm looking at is this dark line and that dark line are so much the same, I'm going to put some different color. This little stick is an old Grumbacher, which back in the day was about the only pastel stick that people could get their hands on. They didn't have, this is back in the 80s, okay? Not that far gone. In fact, you couldn't get these dark darks. What you'd have to do is just keep layering red, yellow, and green and spray it and make your own dark. And of course, the brand of all brands, Rocher. If anybody wants to buy me something for Christmas, their full set is only $18,000. I know. Shock and all. The pastels were designed by a colorist in Paris for Edgar Degas, and they're still being made today. Still a member of the Rocher family. France is a matriarchal society, which means that things pass down to the daughters. And the last Rocher to have it now is Isabel, who took it over from a couple of elderly aunts. I think they were in their 90s or so. And they had not, of course, been marketing it. It was just a dusty little shop in Paris. Isabel took over and brought it back to life. The ants were down to about, I don't know, a ridiculous small number of colors. The range originally had 1,800, which is necessary if you're going to, since you can't, it's a dry medium, so since you cannot mix two colors to get the one you want, like you can in oil or watercolor, in pastel you have to have 7, 8, 9, 10 of, say, ultramarine blue or cad yellow light, or you can't just have one color. You can mix it. That's a unison. It's already too hard. You can mix it like I'm doing here with yellow and orange side by side, which creates the optical illusion from a distance that it's a color of orange. I need a softer yellow. But it's a whole lot easier if you have, it's looking all right. And when I was there at the Sennelier store, I gifted myself some brochets. Now that's one color range of this particular blue, which is I'm not real sure what it is. It's got a color number on it, but they are special. That's why they're in a box by themselves still. But anyway, this is probably the main color. And then they add dark to it to get to the darker tones, and they add a lighter color to get to the lighter tones. And to get to the lightest tone, a lot of times it'll be white. And I've had them 10 years, and here they sit. I got 3 boxes of them. I don't know why I have 2 different boxes of blues. I don't know that at all. See, this tree is behind. Why did I do that? I do not know. That was silly. Of course, that was back when I was just starting. I didn't have good sense for a lot of reasons. But here's a green set. So you know what? In honor of this, I'm just going to get some of these out and use them. How about that? These have a sandy formula that makes them gritty, a little bit gritty. So there you have it. I sound like Shannon Green. She's giggle. It's foolish to have stuff that you don't use. So we may just use those blues. Whoops. Okay, now I need that. This orangey yellow. And I'm making sideways marks in some places because I don't want it to look like it's just a bunch of leaf shapes everywhere. And we've got a few little dark holes in here. Now see, these darks over here that I put in and sprayed, you can't see through. These you can, so that kind of gives you a little different look. Okay, let me see what y'all are talking about. Sophia. How are you, baby? Okay, now remember that we have permission to put any color we want to in an area as long as the value is the same. Now, what is value? Value is dark and light. So if it's this color, any color I want to put in here, whether it be red, dark blue, dark purple, or brown, or green, as long as it's that dark, I can use it in that area. Do I want to? Not necessarily in every case, because you don't want it to look mismatchy. But what happens is from a distance, it looks fabulous. It looks dark from a distance, but when you get up on it, then you see all the variation. Okay, I think I'm about done over there in that little spot. See, I've been dancing around in that area with green, everything else. And in certain cases, you can see every bit of it. I call this my tree of many colors. And you have to train, I have to train myself to go slow and enjoy the process. And that is probably why plein air painting isn't that good for me, because I have a tendency to want to go fast. You know, kind of like teacher's pet, and you want to be the best or the fastest. I try to keep from hitting that, but I can't help it. All right, let's go. Let's just move on up this area. Drinking my lunch. No, not that kind of drinking. Slim fast is easy. I've also kind of got to keep an eye on not getting too frilly. Want to tone that down just a hair. And what do I want to tone it down with? And that is too light. Just not the rocks of their shoes. I am talking to myself, girls. Looking for a sandy color. Let's go back to that dark. Glaze over it very lightly. Kind of bring that area together. Now it can come back and just put in a few lines here and there. So I'm just having a good old time. I'm sorry I keep hitting the camera. That one's a little bit bright, but we're going to leave it. We'll just use some down here. And this clump is too identical. So I'm just going to make them into one. There, that's better. And I've kind of got the same thing going on right here. So let's just do that. All right, I think we're doing good. And we have some green that comes out. See that area right there? That's too much right together. I saw the screen moving. Let me check and see what y'all got. Hi, Beck. I'm so glad to see you guys. Now, let's see. I want to go back. This is just a back and forth game, guys. I want to go back and put some dark right next to the tree. So that then when I come back and do this, if I got it in the tree right. Smooth move, excellent. come around this side so I can see what I'm doing. So that tree will show up. And it doesn't have to I keep putting it on, taking it off. That narrows it a little bit. So bright. The sun on that tree was so bright. Oops. And at some point, the painting takes over. And you hardly look at your source anymore. Now that area right there needs big help. Let's put some reddish pink in there. Better. Let's put some, there's that dark. And where's that rich? I keep not seeing it because it's still in a wrapper. The small sticks and alias break real easy. So I always break a piece off and leave part of it. See, that's what they do. The half sticks and alias are not same formula. Yeah, goes a big chunk. That will be in my container to make some pastels with. Better. Let's put some green. I'm really having to press hard to get some of these to go down. And then come back to a good old Terry Ludwig. Every pastel manufacturer or color chemist has their own recipes for their pastels. And if anybody's interested, I wrote a book about soft pastels, ebook, and in it was a link to a video done by Reuters journalist. I'll get it out in a minute. It was kind of an artsy slideshow of the making of the pastels. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And I'll be glad to hook you up. Okay, now I've got to make sure that my dark areas aren't, when I take a bigger view of it, make sure my dark areas aren't too chunked up. So go back in here and reconnect some of them. And I do want to cover up some of that because the where I sprayed it yesterday will get, it is shining. Shiny. I don't know why it's not taking that. Interesting. Do-do-do-do. I don't like that little mark at all. That is a spot where the paper has lost its sanded area. All right, let's come in here. Back to that dark. Just want edges to look different. Glaze them a little bit, push them back. Push them back, push them back, way back. This is kind of, you can kind of equate this to different mark making that we get with in mixed media with different stencils and stamps and textures. So that's all this is really, if you want to get right down to it. I'm just making interesting areas, and I'm glazing some that I want to knock back a little bit. Yeah, I can do some fixative in that area. I'm not going to use the poison stuff. This is my Pastel fixative Spectra Fix in its little sprayer that is safe. And all it has in it is a casein mixture. That's CASEIN, which is another paint medium that used to be used back in the days of Big Tempera, which is another medium. And I've not tried either one of those, and I really want to. But casein is a milk product, and I mix it with pure grain alcohol, so it smells good. I'm just dragging a little bit of that. I need some more of that lighter color. Okay, I think I'm done mucking around over there. I need some brighter green down here. That's about an Arkansas green. Give it a little bit of direction. And I did, before I came live, got my clear gesso on the other boards I was going to use. Now, there's that cute little a little more pink. And I could use some pink up in here. And pink takes on the color sometimes of what's around it. It may look like pink against some colors and may look like purple or cream color against others. So not quite as much sun over on this side. And if you use a color in one spot, dance it around your painting. We've got a big old variation, but that's okay. I don't want any odd shapes or shapes that duplicate each other. And for that matter, I can use this purple Holbein. It's still making marks. Now see how much more interesting this is, especially where I can see it, not so much where y'all can see it. It's not working just great, but it's working. Here's a lighter. Let's see what happens here. Oh, that's good. This is a unison. That may be. Mount Vision. So I don't want this spot down here taking over anything. Look how pretty that looks. Yeah, we'll use this color up in here too. I'm just going to scratch in some color. Breathe. Okay, I'm going to take a drink of water. And check on you guys. Azure at some point, yes, it will quit working. I'm probably up to Azure. No, I didn't. And I was going to do that and forgot all about it. Azure and I bought ruling pins on Amazon, and they look like they're going to be really cool. And by the way, I was missing a screw on one of them. I'm not sure if I lost it when I opened them, which is possible, or not. So I wrote to the company and asked if they had any screws laying around. Have you lost these screws lately? And the only time I use fixative is when I want to, I don't use it as a protector, okay? I use it to add more. Yeah, that worked. But I'm going to be careful with it. And after I look at this in the living room for a little while, it may become obvious that I've overdone this. I don't outline things, so I'm just putting little short, choppy highlights. Okay, so what in the world? Oh, that's this one. Oh, it is going up there. I thought it wasn't yesterday. So we do have one coming down like that. See how easy that is to make a change? I had a tree limb going nowhere. And it does need to be a little bit bigger. And it is going behind. So if it's going behind, And that means this one is in front. And that means that you've got a little bit of a there. And this won't be quite so thick right here. Nail it down just a little. I'm sorry, I keep hitting that. I'm working on the shape. It's kind of a sinuous tree the way I've got it. Kind of snaky, isn't it? And that should be light on this. Oops. Should be light right here. At least some of it should. There's not any bark to speak of on a sycamore tree. Sycamore. And then we've got remember what I told y'all yesterday? You don't want any limbs that go off the edge of the page, you want them to be messed up around the edges so that your eye doesn't go right off the page. Because this area right in here is where we're going to look, and that's boring, so we're going to work on that. I'm just switching colors around just because I can. Look at this one, teal. Oh, that's beautiful color in here. Look how fat that tree limb is. That's got to come down. Okay, and then we've got a branch. I think I will put that in. There's a branch coming just because it will make it make more sense. Comes up. Something kind of like that. Now some colors. Can't go wrong with purple. Now where it makes that curve, the light switches from on that side of it to up here. Meaning right up here on this side. And you don't necessarily need your branches to connect. This is not drawing. Remember, I always tell you there's a difference between drawing for painting and drawing for drawing. They're two completely different mediums. And then we've got another dark one. Yeah, that's a stem. It's coming up. What about like that? So it'll have a light on this side. And it'll have light on the dark side. See, that's blue. When I put it down, it looks like gray. This will be about the third color I've added to that branchy thing. Okay, now that's too fat right there. So what are we going to do? We're going to bring in some more dark right here. Thin that little baby down. And you did it again. be a good place for a disappearance. I don't want that one. Better. Y'all still having fun out there? Nothing wrong with a little bit of green. Oh, well, where does that thing come from? Oh, it comes just right down here. Do the same thing here because this one's coming over. Well, at least you'll know the next time you see pastels for sale what you do with all those pretty colors. You use them. There will be a test. I'm coming back to you. Hi, Gail. One of your, oops, a little bit. That must mean it's about time to quit. 4:30. What of yours has a cool tip? I'm nosy. Run myself to take a breath every once in a while. All right, now what do we got going on up there? Definitely wasn't dark enough. I've got some shiny stuff up there I need to deal with. Just because everything else is matte. Okay, now we've got some good white right here. And we've got some good white up here. And then some more right up here. And those are shadows. A shadow nose. I gotta get some more of that teal. Where did you go? Oh, I'm so sorry for hitting that. And I don't need that to come down quite that far. I don't see my turquoise. I just used it. Is this it? Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Pinks and teals. For no reason, pinks and teals. And then I need some more dark in here. This is my focal, so I hate using that word, but that's what it is. There are very complicated formulas for focal points, which I love to play with. But for something like this, I just go by the tic-tac-toe. So my area is right in here. I have just about reached capacity on how much I can put on this. You want to see what happens when I spray it? We'll have to redo all those lights. See, now if that's Lilium, there'll be a little bit of a shadow there. And there'll be a little bit of a shadow there. Okay. Azure, you seem to be interested a lot in pastel and this fixative thing. Do you want to see me spray it and see what happens? Bye, Beck. That area is so brown, I'm going to change it just a little. And I suspect I'm going to come back in tomorrow. And think my background is too busy. Azure, you there? That almost looks like a claw. And it's not Halloween. Get rid of a few of those. And make the color a little softer. Okay, I guess Azure's gone. I am going to hold my hand over. I got spray all over my iPad yesterday. Now I'm doing this to see if this will help the background. Okay, that needs to be, I was just looking at it through YouTube on my phone. That's a branch coming out of this main deal. Any comments? Okay, Azure, I'm going to go ahead and spray this tree trunk. I don't know why I'm futzing over here, but it's a new one. Now, see the difference? The fixative hit, not hit. Oh, wait. Wait for it to dry a minute. I do have my hair dryer over here from yesterday. Now, I'd be able to come back in. See, that part I just put in there is gone. I love that aqua. And it's not marking too well right now, so see if I have just a little bit lighter one. That one's not either, so that's a harder one. Come on now. That's a Terry Ludwig, and it's almost too light, but it'll help. Some pink. Some purple. Excuse me. And then some of my soft white. Look for something you just had in your hand. There it is. Okay, I know that I've got another one in here. Probably over here on this side. I'm talking to myself. I think this is a Great American. See how much fun that is? A little more blue than teal. I need to spend a little bit of time and mess with my box over here. I don't want to overdo it. I think I'm about done, guys. Could still use some more light. Let's get another. Now, if I want it to look lighter and whiter, I can't do it with white. I have to do it with a white that is just barely yellow. Something like this. And then come back and pop this in. Like so. Okay, it's time for it to have a overnight rest. So I hope you guys had fun. If you were not looking at the picture, you wouldn't. I mean, it doesn't match this tree. But it doesn't have to. All right, did you? Uh-oh, it's spinning. Okay, it's YouTube. Looks like it just started. See if I can pick it back up. There we go. Y'all missed out on some. Not a whole lot, maybe. Okie doke. I'm glad you had fun. I hope you did. And I will definitely do another session on this. But I'm going to let it sit overnight. What have I got going on there? I've got that branch with some orange over it. Ew. Okay, well, we know it needs work. And that goes over, so that's here. Okay, that's the way it goes. And at some point, you declare victory and say bye-bye. So, bye-bye. Love you guys.